welcome to day two of Write Like the Masters. So, today I am looking at Nietzsche's Man Alone with Himself. It's this book. I bought it at a bookshop. It intrigued me because it was such tiny little beautiful sentences. And I thought that I would love to, in fact, write a sentence of this nature. Basically, I think the thing with a proverb is that it's kind of a joke, but with like a deep truth. Um, and so I think it follows a lot of joke writing rules. Um, but it has this like real depth about it. And I think that the combination of those two things is really powerful. So let's look at some examples of things that Nietzsche wrote. So the first one I've got on my screen is condition for being a hero. If a man wants to become a hero, then the snake must first become a dragon. Otherwise, he is lacking his proper enemy. If a man wants to become a hero, the snake must first become a dragon. Otherwise, he is lacking his proper enemy. So, as you can see, this sentence has three parts. The first ends at this comma here, and then the second at the colon, and then the last bit is, ends at the full stop. And I just wanted to analyze this sentence so that we could write one like it when we do the exercise. But it starts with a man wanting something. And then, so it's the first bit is what somebody wants. It's kind of a character. And then the second is, it sort of flips it on its head. So a man wants to become a hero, the snake must become a dragon. So that like mirroring in the sentence structure is, I think, what makes it, a proverb rather than just a sentence. Otherwise, he is lacking his proper enemy. And that, I think, finishes the thought. You might argue that you don't even need that last bit. But it sort of completes it. If a man wants to become a hero, the snake must first become a dragon. You could even stop it there because I think even that just says it. But otherwise, he is lacking his proper enemy. I think completes it again. Right, next one. Out in nature. We like to be out in nature so much because it has no opinion about us. It's just a simple sentence. We like to be out in nature so much because it has no opinion about us. And I think what that's doing is it's connecting two things. Like one of the things is a thing we like, and another thing is another thing we like. And it's basically connecting two different things that we like very much as human beings in order to kind of give nature a kind of human quality that we really appreciate, that we really find lacking in most humans. Which is a lack of judgment. So that's how that one is working. Tyrant genius. If the soul stirs with an ungovernable desire to assert itself tyrannically, and the fire is continually maintained, then even a slight talent in politicians or artists gradually becomes an irresistible force of nature. If the soul stirs with an ungovernable desire to assert itself tyrannically, and the fire is continually maintained, then even a slight talent in politicians or artists gradually becomes an irresistible force of nature. I think the magic of this one is it's alchemy. So he's taken something bad, which is a soul stirring tyrannically, and he's turned it into an irresistible force of nature. And what he's done in the middle is given us a recipe for that, for that alchemical formula. So how does something bad turn into something good? So the soul stirs with an ungovernable desire to assert itself tyrannically. And then the bit in the middle is fire is continually maintained, then even a slight talent. And then the final thing is the great thing that it becomes. So something bad becoming something good. I think it could also be something good becoming something bad, and the kind of alchemy of that. The other important thing is the structure of the sentence. So the most important bit of the sentence is coming at the end. Irresistible force of nature. That's where the weight of the sentence is. And the second most important thing is coming at the top. So the structure of this one is two, is 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 1 is the structure of the sentence. So in terms of importance, the second most thing is at the first clause, the least important bit's in the middle, and then it ends with the most important bit, and that's the bit that you kind of take away. Right, next one. The only human right. He who strays from tradition becomes a sacrifice to the extraordinary. He who remains in tradition is its slave. Destruction follows in any case. So this one has three parts to the sentence, to the kind of proverb. The first one is a sentence divided by a semicolon. He who strays from tradition becomes a sacrifice to the extraordinary. He who remains in tradition is its slave. So he who and tradition are being repeated. And so you have two different paths, two different approaches to one thing. And then, but they have kind of mirroring or opposite effects. So if you do one thing, this happens. If you do another thing, this opposite thing happens. But the end conclusion, the foregone conclusion, is the same. And there's a sort of inevitability and a kind of a fatalism in that, which feels heavy and weighty and kind of proverbial. Next one, industriousness and consciousness. Industriousness and consciousness are often antagonists in that industriousness wants to take fruits off the tree while still sour, but conscientiousness lets them hang too long until they drop off the tree and come to nothing. Okay, I need to read that one again. Industriousness and conscientiousness are often antagonists. So he set out two things that are really similar, industriousness and conscientiousness. Usually two things that you find in a same person, that they're both industrious and conscientious. They want to do their job well and they want to make some money off of it. But these two things are kind of separating their kind of their being, their consciousness, and their self. And so he takes two conflicting but very similar things, and then he kind of defines why that happens. So in that, industriousness wants to take fruits off the tree while still sour. So someone who wants to make a lot of profit wants to get ahead, wants to take the fruit off the tree while the fruit is still sour. But conscientiousness lets them hang too long. And so you've got this image of the tree. You've got industriousness wanting to take the tree. You've got conscientiousness letting them hang too long. And so there's a conflict between these two things surrounding one image, where they both want to do the same and different things to one image, until they drop off the tree and come to nothing. And so again, there's a fatality in that, a kind of doom in they fall off the tree and come to nothing. And so what he's really telling you is that this conflict often leads to, is a clash that leads to disaster. And so you kind of need to have one balancing the other, and you'll usually be a little bit more of one than the other. So you can't, not all balance is a good thing, I guess, because, yeah. Right. Next thing is the exercise. So this is the fun part. So now that you've heard about how some proverbs are written and made, I want you to try it out for yourself. It's fun. It's a really fun exercise. Try to do it earlier. And basically what I did was I wrote down 3 names of 3 people. First 3 people came to my head. Okay, so my mom, dad, my brother. And then after that, I wrote down an essential truth about them in one sentence. No one tell you what those things are because they might watch this. But just something that really is like, what makes them who they are. and it was just, I was just picking off of whatever my most recent interaction with them is, because I think the thing with Proverbs is, um, when you find like a truth in a very particular, very specific thing, and then abstract it, um, that I think is what, what the function of a proverb we're trying to do. Take something that you feel like, this is how this person ticks, this is what this person's good at, this is why this person's failing at something they want, um, and then just in one sentence. And now play with the language. So remember, the rules of writing proverbs is, you can either have some alchemy, you can either have, remember the sentence structure. So you put 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. So start with the second most important thing, end with the most important thing, and put the alchemical formula in the middle. Yeah, have a lot of mirroring of sentences and words. Divide your truth up into 3 parts. If this, then this. Use a colon, semicolon, or full stop to divide those parts. And that's basically how you write a proverb. So have a go. I'm going to put on a timer, and it's only going to take you a minute and a half, not longer than that. And yeah, enjoy. Okay, time's up. And I would love to see the proverbs that you have written in the comments below. I can read you some of mine. Okay, so I've got, to receive is a burden, to give is a joy. So that I did, to receive is a burden, to give is a joy. So I kind of flipped the expectation there, and try to mirror the sentence. I think I also try to write that as, the burden of receiving is greater than the joy of giving. You can decide which one you think works better. They probably have different functions and different kinds of writing. But okay, another one. Wisdom is not found in books, but in the temperament it takes to read. So wisdom is not found in books, but in the temperament it takes to read. That's probably one for myself. I won't tell you what everybody else, which person I'm connecting the other ones to, but that one is probably me telling myself that I must learn how to read, because the wisdom that I am lacking is right there. I wrote another one. Take a man, add a career and a family, and you end up with half a man. This is the mathematics of capitalist reduction. Okay. An active mind is needed to survive the quagmires of life's tragedies and farces. True greatness is ashamed of itself. It is easier to detect a man's darkness than his depth. I gotta keep going. Basically, each of these was just one person, and yeah, that I know in my life, and then I just kind of took something that I think about them, an opinion, kind of usually a judgmental opinion, but then I just abstracted that into a truth, and now suddenly it's not really connected to that person, or it's not personal anymore. It's just become the way I perceive the world, and that's fun. So I hope you enjoyed doing that, and see you soon.